Vanakkam Chennai. I know that I'm the one who's standing between your tea and the stage. I'll not take much. I'll try and keep it as simple as possible, trying to keep the Josh high the way she set the stage up. So, while this is a product which we launched across over the last 1 year, we heard successful stories of many products being launched, taking the stage to a different level. This is one product which came across to us during the pandemic time period, where the employees, like what Vengi sir had put across, the overall team came together and put their hands together and said that this is something which we want to do because this is what we stand for. Because we heard a lot of people talking about rural, tier 2, tier 3. We come from a family of app called Daily Hunt. We consolidate the content in 14 different languages, and that's one of the brain behind this product as well. So what is the product all about? Like, if we may. So when you talk about the media industry today, it's something which has gone down a little bit, like what many people would have put across, saying that advertising spends and everything went down a little bit, but there is a scope of it coming across with multiple compounding interests, if I may put it across right. Because media as an industry is something which is not going anywhere. And that's something which we know for a fact because people during pandemic time period turned towards content on a larger scale. And that's one of the reasons why digital media got its relevance a little bit. So when you compare it in terms of the OTT subscriptions, the subscriptions itself went across almost threefolds. And that's something which is a good news for many of us here because content is something which is getting consumed on a digital space. Like we heard Srinivas sir also talk about content being distributed on a digital format, which maybe 5 years down, 5 years ago, which he himself agreed that if somebody had spoken to him saying, let's bring Anand Vigadan on a digital alone, he would have definitely said a no to it. So that way, digital is something which is catching up, and that's a space for every one of us here. But why Josh? It's because videos is something where the consumption for any users is going across on a larger scale. So if you look at it from a normal space, 60 million users going across to a 200 million is not something which can happen overnight. And that has happened during a pandemic time period. And that's something which is going to explode on a larger scale, considering the kind of telecom penetration which we have, the data penetration which is also knocking the doors. So I'll quickly grab it across into 3 parts. I'll put it across into 3 buckets, which is what is it in for a user as an end user, what is it for a content creator, and what is it for the brands. So if we can start with what's in. We come from a country which is rich in tradition, in culture, but like what Vijay sir was asking the questions, we started washing vessels. Yes, I've also washed vessels. I've also ordered dishwasher. Yes, a dishwasher along with Swiggy, Zomato coming to our help because overnight it was becoming a little difficult to take the pressure from wife because you're 24/7 at home, locked inside a room, and when you only come out as if you're ordering from a hotel. So from a billion users which we have outside, what is that Josh can give across? So we came across with a platform where we started giving people an opportunity to present their own skill sets, whether it's not just limited to the creative element which we come across with creators, but to a secondary factor. Like let's talk about something, let's say a simple factor of do-it-yourself kind of videos. When I say do-it-yourself kind of videos, a mother teaching a child in terms of learning an alphabet in a different format becomes a content creation. When I say about a musical video, when you talk about, it's not just about singing, it's about even lip singing, because trust me, when you try doing it, it's a little difficult. Only with a little bit of a talent, maybe you will be able to match across the wavelength and sing along with the, moment of the dialogue delivery, or even for that matter, music. So in terms of a user generation, we created it across 3 different pivots. I will rush you through this. It's a consolidation from a content creator using 2 different aspects. One is the different tools which we have, along with the different audio segment which we had looped in, thanks to the media industry which we have. So, Venki sir emphasized on the particular point of rural or tier 2. So, technology is something which is a major chunk when it comes to our product. So, when I say technology, the consumption pattern for every user will be different. Like say for example, if I have downloaded the app today, I start consuming a certain content. The content will be entirely different from anybody sitting here and downloading and consuming the content, because your consumption patterns will change. So the machine learning and the algorithm behind it is the technology which derives the data, what is required to come across as a product in front of you. When I say that, if I bring across a very hungry, funky song in front of a person who would like to hear a devotional video, then it becomes a problem statement. But at the same time, a person who is interested in sports, like the way she was trying to pitch across for Chennai Super Kings all over the night, if it's not interesting an audience, then it backfails. So like that, it is very important for a product like Josh to come out with a very rich technology-driven platform, and that's what we have done over here. And that's what brings us to the primary objective. Like for example, when you come back to a society, like today, there are platforms which enable, enrich creators in a larger scale. When you talk about a larger scale, yeah, I have a capability of dancing like a Prabhudeva. Yes, I can reach many places. But I have a capability to dance like a Prabhudeva, which my daughter thinks I dance like. That becomes a dancer in me. I hum musics. That doesn't mean that I can sing to a tunes of A.R. Rahman. But still, if I can hum beautiful enough for my wife to look romantically at me, still I have a singer in me. So that is one of the concepts which we capitalized on. And tier 2, tier 3 market, we opened it across and started creating content creator environment. So when I say tier 2, tier 3, the emphasis why I give across to tier 2, tier 3 is people have an aspirations. Like Venki sir spoke about how the next step is not the next 50 cities which is going to come across. It is going to come from the rural market. And these are people who look for an aspirations towards the top 50 cities. And that's why we created different concepts where we brought across different engagement units for this set of people to come across, to learn, to understand how can I create a video with a basic amenity like a mobile phone and still look a class different when it comes across to producing that video with very little effort. So if I can just play the video.
It is going very good.
So what's world famous? World famous is something which we hear in every tea stall, where we hear it saying, you know what, this biscuit is a world famous biscuit. You know what, this is one of the quality product which is world famous. So that's a keyword which we plugged across, and we started on a journey. We started pre-COVID, even when the realization, there were not much of very stern steps. We started with Lucknow, and in the last leg we went across to Gujarat. And trust me, the kind of community which we have been able to touch across is immense. Only from Lucknow, we were able to create 40,000 plus videos which were user generated. When I say user generators, it is not including the influencers which we have plugged in to improve or help that user community. So 40,000, out of the 40,000 videos which were created, we called across 800 people to a stage where we brought celebrities from different segments based on the entry points, gave them an opportunity to mingle. It's like a workshop, like a one-day full workshop, where you're not being judged on the video which you created, but you're being told, this is something which can become a little more better if you do it this way. The video angle should not be from this side, because this side makes it look a little more fatter, but you create it from here because then you get to a different wide can, so that you look a little more better. So that way the workshop enables the creators coming from individual locations to put across the content to a larger community. And what happens is, from Lucknow, we even managed to go across. So we've created something called a creator-thon. Creator-thon is more like a special tuition class. It's like you bring across 20 people across to a single destination and you give them a little more focus, because you 100% believe that there is a little more variety which can be given to that person. And that's what we did with Creator-thon uh, across different locations. And then if you can just play this video once, please. Not that, next, sorry. This video will give you a gist in terms of like what we did in the last 1 year, because believe me when I say it across, this is just been a year since we launched it, and today we already have more than 120 million users consuming the content, because content we believe is the king. Until unless you give a user completely a content which he enjoys, he's not going to stick around. And the stickiness is something which we keep measuring in terms of the time spent. So what is it in for brands? So we do have different types of product launches which we can do. We can create on-ground activation events. There's a lot more which we can actually enable the brands, not in just consuming the content, but also enriching the same creators to become your brand ambassadors. So we have come out with multiple different programs, which is like called the Agents of Josh. Agents of Josh is nothing but handpicked 5,000 creators from individual regions being given a platform to work along with a brand, and that allows the brand affinity to increase over time, but at the same time it also enables the brand to communicate and create a brand ambassador within that small person coming from a very small town. Let's say you have a store in one of the tier 2 or a tier 3. Rather than bringing a brand ambassador from a Bombay or a Bangalore, if you have a person who stays just 6 minutes or 10 minutes away from your store, that person walks across and he becomes the face of your own store. That's something which brings a lot more variety to the store, is what we believe in. So I'll quickly take you through a couple of contents which we have been able to create, and these are the kind of creators which you're talking about. Can you believe he is actually dancing in water? And his content is created within water. And he is one of the people who has been able to use Josh to a completely different level. And this is the kind of talent which you're talking about. So this is for Chennai Super Kings.
The number music irukla, start the whistles. Chennai Super Kings periya whistle aadinga. Enna oor Chennai ku periya whistle aadinga. Enna tala Dhoni ku periya whistle aadinga. Chennai Super Kings ku
a do-it-yourself kind of a video created by a mother at home for how to tie jasmines to a thread.
யாருமே சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. ஒரு சூப்பரான ஈஸி மெத்தட் சொல்கிறேன். இப்போ நூல் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. நூல் எடுத்து இந்த மாதிரி கரண்டியில் 2 சுற்றி ஒரு முடிச்சு போட்டுக்கோங்க. தனியே ஒரு நூல் எடுத்து இன்னொரு முடிச்சு போட்டுக்கோங்க. இப்போ 2 நூலுக்கு நடுவில் பூவை வச்சு நான் போடுற மாதிரி முடிச்சு போட்டுக்கோங்க. நிறைய பேர் பூ கட்ட தெரிஞ்சவங்க கூட நெருக்கமாக கட்ட தெரியல அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ எப்படி பூ கட்ட தெரியாட்டியும் நெருக்கமாக கட்ட தெரியாத யாராக இருந்தாலும் இந்த மாதிரி நீங்கள் ட்ரை பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நெருக்கமாக தலையில் வச்சா அவ்வளோ சூப்பராக இருக்கும். 2 நூலுக்கு நடுவில் பூவை வச்சு கரெக்டாக ஒரு முடிச்சு போடுற மாதிரி 2 நூலையும் சேர்த்து 3வது நூல் எடுத்து நம்ம முடிச்சு போட போகிறோம். அதுதான் ஈஸியான மெத்தட் தான். பாருங்கள், போட்டுட்டேன்.
So simple when it's thought across in a right way, right? And with a little bit of a hack.
நான் முடிச்சு போட்டுக்கிறேன். கடைசியாக கட்டினதுக்கு அப்புறமா நீங்கள் கட் பண்ணிவிட்டு நீங்கள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவ்வளோ சூப்பராக இருக்கும். இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சதுன்னா மறக்காமல் லைக் பண்ணுங்கள், ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கள்.
The next one is a leaf and how it enables a person to create an art. as simple as that. But again, if you look at it on a comedy side of it, it's even more simpler when a husband and wife have a normal conversation.
இங்க மனைவிகள் நாங்க சந்தோஷமா இருக்கணும்னா காரு, பங்களா, வீடு, வாசல், நகநட்டு இது எதுவுமே தேவையில்லைங்க. நீங்க அன்பா பேசினாலே போதுங்க. ஆண்களுக்கு
நீங்க அமைதியா பேசாம இருந்தாலே போதுங்க. அதுவே எங்களுக்கு பெரிய சந்தோஷம்.
And it doesn't take away the credit from a small kid in terms of how various things he can actually do.
ஆளாளுக்கு என் வாதியார பல்லு பூச்சி பாக்குறீங்களா? ஏய் வேம்பளே, உன்னை அடிச்சு நான் தூக்குறேன்டா.
ஸ்டேஜ்ல ஏறி புட்வொர்க் பண்றப்ப எதில இருக்க ஒரு குத்து அத வாங்கி மறுபடியும் ஸ்டாமினாட தரத்துக்குதுல அப்படி செஞ்சு கெல்ச்சி இத்தனை வருஷமாங்க நின்னுகிறோம். தம்மா குர்தாவ அவனை வச்சு நாடி பாடி நிக்கிறேன்.
வாத்தியார ரோஸ் கூடாடி 2 ரவுண்ட் தாண்ட சொல்லு.
கபில ரோஸ் 2 ரவுண்ட்ல பிடிக்கிறான். வேம்பிலியோட ஃபைட். வேம்பிலி see in the ring baga ring.
So this is what we do, and this is what keeps our Josh high, because we start seeing in terms of not just from one language but from 13 different languages the kind of content which keeps us really excited. So looking forward for carrying many more brands on board, because we have really had a lot of brands to talk about, but the red alert over there is telling me it's time's up. So I'll surrender before she comes and kicks me out of the platform. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sitar.